Happy Force Friday, everybody. Today is October 4th, 2019, and it's Force Friday. And actually this year they're calling it Triple Force Friday. I'll get into that a little bit later in the video. But first of all, what is Force Friday? So that's a great question. Force Friday is a Star Wars merchandising and product launch event that was developed by Lucasfilm and Disney. So this is a relatively new thing. The very first Force Friday was September 4th in 2015. And well, how it works is kind of a bunch of retailers come together and they coordinate different events. So they'll have events in store. Some online retailers like Amazon will participate as well. So it's not just limited to brick and mortar stores. But in store, there'll be different giveaways and activities and sometimes Midnight Madness openings. So depending on the store, that's kind of some of the things that they do. So what's the point of it? Well, the point of this holiday is essentially to hype up kind of some new Star Wars products that are coming out. And it also serves kind of two purposes. So one, it's a marketing initiative, and it's sort of a launch of new Star Wars products that are coming out. But at the same time, whenever there's been Force Friday, it's usually in advance of kind of a big Star Wars media release. So typically it's been a movie. So for example, the very first Force Friday in 2015, that occurred several months in advance of the release of The Force Awakens. That's part of the purpose of Force Friday as well, to kind of get people excited about an upcoming movie, or this year it's actually they want to get people excited about upcoming movie, video game, and TV show. So that's kind of what Force Friday is. Now let's kind of run through what Force Friday has been like for the past few years. So as I said, the very first one was the inaugural Force Friday. That was in 2015, and that was September 4th, 2015. And the movie that was coming out later was The Force Awakens, or that was the kind of media project. And this very first Force Friday, it included a live stream unboxing event. So that was something that they had on the Star Wars YouTube channel. And the first Force Friday, it launched several Hasbro Kylo Ren lightsaber toys. So that was a really big deal at the time because, the Kylo Ren lightsaber, the crossguard lightsaber, that was new to everybody, and to have these products launch at that time, a lot of people were kind of really excited about this newfangled lightsaber. So that was a big deal then. Now, next year, Force Friday 2016. Now, there's not as much talk about what occurred in 2016, and that's because it was sort of an off year in terms of Star Wars movies. Although that was the year that Rogue One, a Star Wars story, came out, so they did kind of push some merchandise for this sort of second Force Friday, but it didn't seem to be quite as big of a deal as some of the other Force Fridays because it wasn't one of these kind of main Star Wars movies. It was one of the anthology movies that came out. So actually, it's not technically that 2016 is not really, it doesn't count as the second Force Friday, but there were some kind of promotions and products that came out around that time. So Force Friday 2 was actually officially 2017, and so that was held on September 1st, 2017, in advance of the release of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. So that was a pretty big deal. We're back to kind of some of the main sequel movies, and this event had kind of an augmented reality experience that ran from September 1st through September 3rd, so that kind of went along with the publicity of the event. And then some of the big releases, in terms of lightsabers anyway, at Force Friday 2, that's the Disney Parks exclusive Rey lightsaber. I have one of them right here. And this was also the year that the Star Wars Jedi Challenges augmented reality game came out, and that has a lot of lightsaber battle kind of built into that game as well. So those were a few big things that year. Now, 2018, there wasn't a Force Friday organized, and that's sort of because it was, again, a bit of an off year for some of the major Star Wars content. So now we're finally in 2019. So this year is called Triple Force Friday, and it's being held today, so it's still going on. And it's called Triple Force Friday because there are 3 different kind of media things that they're wanting to promote. So certainly Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, that's pretty much at the top of the list in terms of Star Wars, but there's some other kind of major things coming out too. So The Mandalorian, the TV series, that's coming out in the fall, and also Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which is a major video game coming out. So that's why it's called Triple Force Friday. They're releasing different products related to all 3 of those kind of media efforts by Disney and Lucasfilm and, the game designers. So this year for Force Friday, they kind of kicked off everything with this pre-launch product reveal show, and they had that on the Star Wars YouTube channel. They had a live stream, and it was hosted by Warwick Davis, and that was on September 26th, so that was kind of about a week ago. They wanted to, build up some of the hype a little bit with revealing some of these products on screen in advance, probably to get people super excited about Force Friday today. And it was kind of neat. I watched part of it. It had Warwick Davis hosting, and then they had a bunch of different Star Wars cast members from all 3 of those things, so from the movie, the TV show, and the video game. And they brought them all in and had them kind of react to like seeing themselves as an action figure or, some other thing like that. So it was kind of a neat show, and, feel free to check that out if you'd like. But yeah, so some of the major kind of lightsaber related releases for Force Friday this year. One of them is a new Kylo Ren lightsaber. It's a Kylo Ren Force FX Elite lightsaber. And I talked about that a little bit in a previous video. So it's essentially a Force FX lightsaber that has a few more kind of effects, like a blaster bolt defect, or deflect rather, not defect, effect, and, a few other kind of more advanced features that we haven't seen in Force FX lightsabers before. Now the price point on that's a bit higher, so it retails for $299.99 rather than a lot of the other Force FX lightsabers are around $200 or less. But yeah, that's one of the big lightsaber releases today on Force Friday. Another big lightsaber release, I would say, is this new lightsaber toy that's called the Scream Saber, and it allows the user to, scream into the lightsaber, and the toy will kind of play it back as you wave the lightsaber around. So you can use, people can use different kind of funky sounds. You could meow into the lightsaber, or, some people were suggesting the Owen Wilson wow sound. I'm sure people will be doing that type of thing. But it's just kind of this goofy lightsaber toy, and there hasn't been things quite like that before. So that's Force Friday, you guys. Just a little synopsis.